In the gallery above, find details on the 35 most anticipated games for the PlayStation 4 console that are expected to be released during 2018. Our list includes only those games with confirmed release dates and games that seem more likely than not to come out this year, plus, at the end, a few bonus picks that are a bit more tentative for 2018. Visit our 2018 preview section for previews for additional gaming platforms, as well as film, TV, and music previews. Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. Delayed by a year, this sequel to 2007's Ace Combat 6, Fires of Liberation is the first Ace Combat game designed for the latest generation of hardware. Though it's no longer a PS4 exclusive, XP One and PC releases are also due this year. PlayStation VR owners will get exclusive VR missions. Bandai Namco is billing its latest arcade-style dogfighting game as a return to the series' origins, ditching the more realistic settings of recent, unnumbered, releases from the past decade for the strange aerial fictional universe and a more developed story. The better hardware also means that you can expect realistic, volumetric clouds that add another dimension to gameplay. Anthem. One of the most anticipated non-sequels this year, Anthem is the first new IP from Mass Effect studio BioWare since the Dragon Age series debuted in 2009. Arriving late this year for XP One, PS4, and PC, the game is a multiplayer, online, sci-fi shooter with rebounds per game elements that looks an awful lot like Bungie's hit Destiny. There are still relatively few details known about the game, which was first unveiled last summer at E3. But, like Destiny, Anthem takes place in a huge, shared universe that extends well beyond Earth. Your job, as a freelancer, is to explore planets and protect humanity from a variety of non-human threats. Fortunately, you can team up with other players to do so, and you will have a customizable, jetpack-equipped exosuit called a Javelin to give you an added boost. Developed by the studio behind 2003's stellar Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Anthem will share Star Wars's, rather than Mass Effect's, approach to sci-fi, one that is actually less concerned with scientific explanations and more like fantasy. Biomutant. Developed by new Swedish indie studio Experiment 101, which was recently acquired by THQ Nordic, which will publish the game, Biomutant is another post-apocalyptic, open-world, action rebounds per game. Expect martial arts-style combat, with a bit of sniper-style shooting thrown in for fun, magical abilities, colorful scenery, biomechanical character upgrades, and a variety of transport options ranging from jetpacks to hot air balloons. Not crazy enough for you yet? How about Biomutant's main feature, a world full of bizarre, mutated, fuzzy creatures, including your own character, a bipedal, raccoon-like warrior. The game will be released for XP One, PS4, and PC sometime this year. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. The highest-funded video game in Kickstarter history at the time of its 2015 introduction, Bloodstained should finally arrive in 2018 after a multi-year delay. Why the excitement? Because it is billed as a spiritual successor to the beloved Castlevania series, and actually comes from former Castlevania lead producer Koji Igarashi, as well as some of the creative team behind the original games. Early reveals at recent game shows suggest that, at a minimum, the 2.5D graphics should look great. But numerous Metroidvania-style games have arrived on the scene during Igarashi's absence, so the question remains whether Bloodstained will have enough new ideas, or strong enough execution, to stand out from the crowd. The game will be available on every current console, plus PC and Vita. Code Vein. Developed by the Bandai Namco team behind the God Eater series, this PS4 XP1/PC release is, you guessed it, yet another post-apocalyptic, open-world, action rebounds per game. You play as an extra-powerful, but amnesiac, vampire known as a revenant, and you'll need plenty of blood to avoid becoming lost. You'll also get to select an AI companion to help you navigate the dystopian environment. Gameplay. Especially combat, looks to be modeled after Dark Souls, though the visuals carry an anime aesthetic. The Crew 2. The sequel to Ubisoft's 2014 open-world racing game The Crew should arrive at mid-year for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. That previous game didn't exactly impress critics or gamers, but developers claim to have heeded their criticisms when designing the sequel. The result is a less constricting game that has greater emphasis on choice and less on completing missions. One very visible change: racing will not be confined to roads. Speedboats and aircraft are among the new vehicles available, and you'll be able to seamlessly shift from one vehicle type to another on the fly as you race, in mid-jump, for example. The open-world setting spans the entire United States, and each race now includes more potential routes, adding to the game's sense of freedom. Dark Souls Remastered. The famously difficult action rebounds per game Dark Souls is one of the best games released for the prior generation of consoles, and it was followed by two equally well-received sequels. In May, the original game will come to the newest generation of hardware for the first time. The remastered version of Dark Souls runs at resolutions up to 4K at 60 FPS on the highest-end machines. That would be the PS Pro for PlayStation gamers. The new version, which includes the Oratorias of the Abyss expansion, will also allow up to 6 players in multiplayer mode. Darksiders III. Though its previous home, THQ, is gone, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse action-adventure franchise lives on. The sequel to 2012's Darksiders II is heading to consoles, though not the Switch, despite the previous game's availability on the Wii U and PC sometime this year via its new publisher, THQ Nordic, and a new development team, Gunfire Games, though many of the individuals who worked on the first two games are now there. The action in Darksiders III runs concurrently with events in the first two games. Your female protagonist is Fury, enigmatic sister to the first game's War, who is armed with a whip and magic and tasked with hunting down and eliminating each of the 7 deadly sins, and their servants. In the process, you'll get roam throughout heaven and hell. Days Gone. Post-apocalyptic action titled Days Gone, a PS4 exclusive, comes from the Oregon studio behind the Siphon Filter franchise. The open-world game casts you as a former bounty hunter-turned-biker, voiced by actor Sam Witwer, who attempts to eke out a life on the road in a world where a global pandemic has turned most of the surviving humans into zombie-like beings. And these are fast zombies, at least during certain times of the day-night cycle, who come together in huge swarms. Not up for a big fight? Many of the challenges can be solved through stealth. Detroit, Become Human. This delayed title is the latest ambitious, narrative-driven game from Quantic Dream, Heavy Rain, Beyond, Two Souls, and the first designed for the PS4 console. It's an exclusive. Become Human centers on an android named Kara, who escapes the factory where she was created and begins exploring a near-future, dystopian Detroit. If she dies, and she may, since she is being hunted by a Blade Runner-esque android named Connor, you can continue playing as a different character. Depending on the decisions you make, you may see only a fraction of the game on any given playthrough.